We now know that the Minneapolis shooter, Robert Westman, was a mentally disturbed young man who, at the age of 17, with the approval of his mother, went trans and changed his name to Robin. Predictably, as with so many kids lured into this world, things got worse. Robert, then Robin, descended into darkness. 5 years later, he expressed regret about what he had done and a desire to detransition. Now, according to a translation of the purported manifesto, Westman wished he hadn't brainwashed himself and hadn't questioned his gender identity, writing that while he knows he wasn't a woman, he didn't feel like a man. Now, we don't know what sort of treatment he got, if any, but we do know that there needs to be an investigation into how so-called gender-affirming care is impacting our kids.
This is the second shooting involving a trans-identifying shooter who specifically targeted Christians and Catholic kids. What kind of consequences do the gender-affirming therapists, doctors, or even the parents of these shooters face after these types of shootings?
HHS is investigating perhaps links between some of these drugs and these prescription drugs that some of these minors may be taking and an increase in violence.
Here to discuss is Dr. Drew Pinsky, host of Ask Dr. Drew and Chief Patient Officer for the Wellness Company. Dr. Drew, Minnesota Democrats, they brag about being a safe haven for trans youth and adults. They celebrate and elevate transgenderism, including in schools. You've seen it at cultural events. Jacob Fry's taken part in some of these. But isn't it time to have a serious conversation about, like, a federal ban on any gender treatment of any kind at any medical facility, at least when it involves minors?
Oh, boy, it's a heavy question. But the reality, though, is, look, the fact that we take this treatment and we don't contemplate the context in which it occurs, and we bureaucratize and centralize and politicize the practice of medicine, you're going to have bad outcomes. This kid had a context that was much more serious problem than was his gender feelings. The reality is it's like treating a fever when somebody has a pneumonia. You miss the underlying condition. And the reality also is, Laura, that there are people that do benefit from care, properly selected, properly timed. But we spend no energy figuring out who those patients are, so we're giving one size fits all, which only ends up in what looks to all of us like harm, as opposed to any potential benefit for anybody.
So do you think giving puberty blockers or even green lighting surgery for minors can be a good thing?
I'm not clear about surgery, but I've seen many cases in which somebody, as they hit puberty, not getting puberty blockers, just getting hormonal therapies, are carefully assessed for many months, sometimes years, and then are told they're going to be taking dangerous medicines for the rest of their life. They have to take these things. They're very circumspect about it. They understand they have a condition. These are dangerous medicines, and it's not to be willy-nilly applied to anybody who might have a funny feeling about who they are.
Yeah, transgenderism among young people, Dr. Drew, is skyrocketing, we understand. So trans kids ages 13 to 17 make up more than a quarter of the entire trans population. So when you look at Minnesota, where the shooting happened, the transgender rate there among 18 to 24-year-olds is the highest in the United States. What are your thoughts there?
We need to look at this as seriously as we look at rates of, say, something like autism, where you're not allowed to ask. All these years, we've not been allowed to ask, what is going on? Why are these rates going up? There's a reason here. Contagion has been suspected. There's all sorts of concerns about medications, of course, but there's something going on, and we need to understand what that is and stop merely slapping something on the surface and looking deeper. Humans are complicated. Our brains are complicated. And just giving some paste on the outside is not going to solve what's going on necessarily on the inside.
Do you think that, given what we've learned about this individual, that it's even conceivable that there weren't major red flags about a potential episode, perhaps a violent one, brewing here? We had lots of problems, obviously lots of disciplinary issues and other problems, but
yes,
this doesn't happen overnight.
No, it does not. They're absolutely categorically had the very. This is what is so disgusting to me, and frankly ashames me of my profession, that they focused on this one issue of care and miss the important context of what was going on with this kid. I don't want to say I feel sorry for a perpetrator like this, but is this kid better because of the care he got from the medical system? Are any of these kids that have shot places up and had transgender treatments better because they got transgender treatment? Something is very wrong with how we're approaching this treatment, and we need to solve that problem.
Well, European countries are beginning to ban it, have banned it. I think our whole country has to have a serious conversation about this. Dr. Drew, it's always great to have you on. Thank you so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.